So, a quick heads up, it is pre-launch week this week, well, starting this week, running for the next few days, and I'm running a free webinar. Now, the webinar is about imposter syndrome, and the reason I've gone for that one, because the course that I'm pre-launching is the Fearless Public Speaking Program. It's the new updated version of the workshop that I ran many years ago. And the reason I went for the imposter syndrome as one of the first modules in terms of the bonus modules is because when I was going through the surveys, and thank you so much to everyone who completed the surveys, because all of that has fed into what I create in the program. Imposter syndrome isn't necessarily something that I would have had in the core program, but it came up several times because people were saying, because they had, of course, the fear of public speaking, but the whole thing about imposter syndrome, there were people who had turned down speaking opportunities, they turned down jobs, they turned down interviews, or sabotaged themselves, all because of this imposter syndrome thing. So I'll tell you about that in a few minutes, but I thought we might do a quick run through of the new page itself. So this is where you're heading. That's where you will land on the Fearless Public Speaking Program page. So do go forth and check that out. Once you get to that particular page, you'll see there's a bit of a breakdown in terms of what are we covering, what are some of the things you're going to be getting. So for example, one of the key pieces, and this is something that I've been using for the last 22 years, works a treat. It's amazing. It's a way that you can go from blank sheet of paper to having an outline for your presentation in just 5 minutes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll also show you a process for what I call the 90-second calm. So if you feel that fear, anxiety, overwhelm is kind of just getting out of hand, a ton of stuff. We'll run through a few of those, but that's kind of you'll see an overview there of what we've got covered. What you'll also find is a little bit of just an introduction and background. Why this program? What's the rationale behind it? How is it structured? So you will find all of that there as well. What else do we have? Of course, we have. Now, one of the things with regards to this program, just looking at the people who are joining me already, we have some who are new to public speaking, so they're just getting started. And we have some amazing, fabulous, seasoned presenters who are already out doing amazing things in the world. And so it is designed for both of those audiences. So if you're new, you'll have all of the foundational stuff. If you're a seasoned, experienced presenter, I'm sure there'll be some nuances that you can add, as well as improving the skills that you've got. And the reason I say that is where are we now? So that would have been excuse me, that would have been last year. I've been coaching at University of Oxford for a couple of years, and last year they asked if I could do a public speaking masterclass, and there was someone there who sponsors part of the program. And he said he just sort of sits in occasionally just to hear what's going on, but he's not really, it is what it is. It's just another workshop. He'll just be in the back. So we have a break, and he says to me during the break, he says, oh my goodness, I've already picked up loads of tips and loads of things. By the end of it, he was like, so you said this, and I wanted to ask you about that, and I wanted to ask you about this. So, and this is somebody who speaks and does this thing for a living. So it will be a mix, as a little bit of something for everyone in terms of that. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yes. So there's the thing about the 77% and the 23%, and really just having a look at that and seeing which of those percentiles you are in. And if you are in the 77%, you may want to definitely come and join us for this program. There's also a bit of a breakdown in terms of what's included. And so I've broken that down in terms of a table so you can see exactly what it is. The two on the right are not live yet because we're in the pre-launch. And for those of you who are joining me for the live webinars, those prices don't apply anyway. There's a different price for those of you joining me for the webinar, so that's $397. So have a look at that. But if you come into the live webinar, don't use that, because you'll get a different price on the webinar. So it just gives you a bit of an overview really about what is it to come. Of course, you will meet some of my clients and people who have been through this program and done some of the public speaking presentation work with me. I think I've got a larger one of those. Let me see. Yes, I have. So some of you will know Rachel CK, for example. So her lovely testimonial is there, and Rachel took that version of the workshop. I wasn't even there. I was on holiday, sitting by the pool on the sun lounger, and I got a really lovely message from Rachel saying she just spent the day with me. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, so I looked around thinking, gosh, if she arrived at the resort, is she here by the pool? Of course she wasn't. And she said she had taken herself through that program because it was the recorded version of the first iteration. So it will be live. And of course, if you can't make it, you will have access to the material. If you're going for the VIP program, you have lifetime access. If you're going for the general program, you'll get 12 months access to the material, but it's all there. So go and have a read in terms of what other people have said about this program. But Rachel had a big talk coming up. And so she says in that testimonial that the person who allowed her to think and breathe and talk all at the same time was going through the program. So you'll meet some of those people on the page, and then there's just a breakdown also of there's some bonuses as well, so you'll get a breakdown of what the bonuses are. Those are all listed on the page. I have 7 or 8 of those. So yes, go forth, have a look. And if you have been one of those people who's been meaning to, planning to get out there, share your work, your programs, your workshops, do live streams, whatever it is for you, and I know oftentimes it's none of the above, people just have to turn up at meetings, and the thought of presenting at a meeting, being live on Zoom, Teams, whichever it is you're using, because one of the things that happened in terms of the landscape and the way it's changed at the moment, everyone is now finding that that at some point they're going to be center stage because you're in a meeting. And so previously you might have been able to sit in the kind of meeting room and slink in the back. When you're on Zoom, all eyes are on you and you are taking cameras, you're taking center stage, and it is lights, camera, action. So if you're one of those people who's been thinking about it, meaning to do something about it, even wondering if it's possible to do something about it, this is definitely for you. And for those of you I haven't met before, I was terrified of public speaking right up until age 32. And it's now one of my absolute most favorite things to do and favorite things to teach. And a few minutes ago, I finished a live 30-minute program with Talk TV, where I was invited on to do a 30-minute review of the newspapers and top stories of the day. So we're going through the front page news, doing all of that. And again, if you'd said that to me when I was terrified of public speaking, that was almost no notice, I'd be like, yeah, I can do that. I would have just laughed you out of town. And so I did. What time is it now? 8:40. So I was on at 6 a.m. this morning. So 2.5 hours ago, I did that. And then, well, yeah, so 45 minutes ago, I was then on BBC Radio Cumbria as well. So it is possible to go from being absolutely terrified of public speaking to loving it. So imposter syndrome. So for those of you who have not yet registered, I'm running a free webinar. So the next one is on Saturday. There'll also be one on Monday if you're watching this in real time. And it's the whole piece around imposter syndrome. I remember the very first time I heard the term was, I think it was around 2001/2. Had someone come to do a one-day breakthrough session with me. She's what I would describe as suited and booted. Had running a big team for a really large company, multi-million-pound projects. And she said, I'm terrified almost every day that I'm going to be found out. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, I feel like an imposter. And because she didn't feel that, for whatever reason, we're going to go into some of the common causes of imposter syndrome, how it shows up, the way that it can impact and sabotage you. One of the ways that people describe it is they're waiting for the other shoe to drop because they don't feel as though they are good enough, qualified enough, etc., to be in that place, in that position. And the weird thing about imposter syndrome is the people who suffer from it most often are normally the high achievers, the skilled, the talented, qualified, educated. It's amazing. So I've chosen that one because it came up a few times in the surveys, and I thought, it's not going to be in the main program, but we are going to, as part of, with the bonuses, we'll have some mini masterclass sessions. So this will be one of them. We are going to have the quick reference guides, the PDF. So I may do a little bit of a written summary. with regards to that as well. We've got the group coaching sessions, a Q&A session. So if you have specific questions, and then if you're going for the VIP, you also get a one-to-one private coaching session as well. But I thought let's kick off with this one, because if you're running imposter syndrome, it's going to be very challenging to do anything else, whether that's public speaking or just showing up for your regular job, even if you're not on camera. So that's what we're going for now. Just to point out, hi Sadin, how are you? Thank you for joining me. When you land on the page, you can see 3 dates there now. One of those is already gone. But when you land on the page, it kind of looks like you're like, oh, where's the date? There's a little drop down arrow. So you choose the date that you want to do. So either Saturday or Monday, next Monday. So choose the date that you want to do. You then just hit the register key. All you need to do is enter your name and email address, and it's absolutely free. And join me for the live webinar on imposter syndrome. You can also ask your questions, either put them in the chat or in the private Q&A. So I would love to have you come and join me for that as well. Now, in terms of the Fearless Public Speaking, I'm just about to send something out to the e-newsletter list. You'll also get a pre-launch code in there for those of you who are e-newsletter subscribers. If you do want a book, make sure you use that. And if you're joining me for a live webinar, don't use the code in the e-newsletter. Come to the live webinar instead, and I'll share with you a different code at the end of that. And for those of you who are joining us for the live webinar, I'm also going to be including, there's a bonus for you, because one of the things that can creep in with regards to the imposter syndrome is perfectionism. So there's a 10-page document all about perfectionism, which breaks it down, goes into some of the research, and also tells you how you can overcome that. So that's a free bonus as well for those of you joining me for the live webinar in the next couple of days. So I'm just about to send out the e-newsletter, so you will have all of the links for that. If you want to join the imposter syndrome webinar, easiest way to do that, because it's a very long URL, is to go to my main website, which is going to be coming along the bottom of the screen any second now. It's www.transformationstm.com. So that's TRANCE, F for Freddy, so FORMATIONSTM.com. Click the red What's New button at the top of the screen. A panel will slide out and should really be near the top. I think that's the last thing I added up there. And then you'll see a link where you can join sign yourself up for the webinar. So would love to have you come and join me for that. It'll be fantastic. If you want to join the Fearless Public Speaking program, go to the link, and that's it's a long URL, so it's going along the bottom of the screen. I'm still updating and tweaking the page, and I've got a few more things to add, but the gist of what we're doing is there, so feel free to go and have a look. It's the new Zenler. It's quite a long one. So what I'll probably also do is add that to my website as well under the What's New. So again, you just kind of click the link. You don't have to memorize it. Right. And if you know anyone who could benefit from joining me from the free webinar, or you might go public speaking, presenting, whether that be on stage, live or online, is not the thing for you, or it's not something you need to do, but you know other people who could benefit, please feel free to share the link with them, share this video with them. That would be absolutely amazing. And with regards to this program, once we go live, the doors will be closing, so it's not something you can join later on in the year. So if this is your year to sort out any issues that you have with public speaking and presenting, get yourself signed up, come and join us. It will be amazing to work with you. Thank you so much for watching. Marilyn Devonish, over and out.